In February, I started a project to teach myself to make Bebe lace, and I also wanted to look at the origins of Irish crochet. I wanted to go back before the days of the ornate padded cord motifs and designs. When we see Irish crochet lace, it's usually made from the about 1870s onwards. Before that, the lace was plainer and flatter. There was less relief. And even before that, there was a style called Bebe lace, which was imitating either needle lace or else bobbin lace. And it was used for trimming clothes. There aren't many patterns left from those days. In fact, there are virtually none. The patterns I did find in that style were often very badly written and didn't always give a clear indication or went wrong. They just simply didn't work. So I decided to teach myself how to make it and also design a christening gown. So I made a short drawing on what I wanted the christening gown to look like, and I've now kind of worked over the last couple of months, and I've got most of the bits together to finally assemble the christening gown. I'm also planning on showing you how to make the Bebe lace, how to make the various designs, and I hope to show you that you don't really need a pattern, that you can work independently and design your own work. So this is the drawing I made. I made a little cap and a dress. I've been examining christening gowns from about 1800 onwards to about 1850, and I noticed a lot of the lace was mounted on net. So they would have very, very fine material or else net, and the lace was attached to that. So I decided to make an overdress made out of net with the lace and an underdress which would be like a petticoat. The very first thing I did was I made a model of the dress and the size it was going to be. I didn't have any pattern, so I had to design my own pattern. So I made a mock dress out of yellow poplin so that I'd have an idea of the size. I wanted it to fit a baby of about 6 months, so I had to kind of measure up. And what I did, I took baby clothes and measured them to get an idea of how large it was supposed to be. I made sure that the arms weren't too small so that it would fit comfortably for a baby. It wouldn't be uncomfortable. And once I had that, I could make plans to make the actual lace. The first thing I did was make the hat. So this is the hat. I made 4 squares and I used a number 100 thread and a 0.4 hook. So I made the 4 squares and mounted them on netting. So the reason I'm using netting is it would give the hat a better shape and it'll keep its shape better, because as you know, Irish crochet will kind of shrink in on itself if it hasn't got a clear edge or a good foundation. So I made 4 squares, 3 roses and a shamrock. All the motifs I've used are shamrock, roses and wheels in all the lace I designed. And as an edge for around the face, I made a very plain lace, and I made an edge so that I could fit ribbon through, but it's so fine I couldn't find ribbon that was thin enough, so I ended up folding over the ribbon and putting it in. So once that's done, I'll be sewing these two together. I was struggling to find a model to put the dress and the hat on to show the finished work, and I was looking for an old-fashioned doll like the ones I used to remember when I was young, which were chubby big dolls, but I couldn't find any, and with the lockdown and the fact that all the shops were closed, I couldn't find any locally. I also looked online and I couldn't find the type of doll I was looking for. So I looked at the real live looking babies, and I didn't particularly like them because they looked so realistic. But I managed to find one that looks more like a doll than like a baby, and at least I think so. So once I've got the doll, I'll be showing you what the hat looks like when it's finished. So the only thing I need to do here now is sew this onto the edge and put a little stitch in here and here, and we'll have the hat. I made it this way so that if needed you could make the hat slightly larger by maybe putting ribbon between. So it will be adaptable to the size of the baby's head. I will be making videos on how to make these squares and how to put them together. As you can see, I made a clearly defined edge. The next thing I did was I made an outline of the shape of the top of the dress, and I did that with pen. Then I made a chain and covered the edges and sewed that down. So it was a line of chains, and I just sewed that down so I would have the outline so that I could actually crochet inside that. And here's the result. So this is the bodice of the dress. As you can see, it's just picot chains with a band of wheels at the bottom. There'll be a ribbon under this, and for the top itself I made a plait for the edge of the neck and another plait to go round the front and the shoulders. And I've got this piece of lace that will go around the whole body and over the shoulders, so it'll be like a kind of cap sleeve. So my next job with this is to put it all together and to sew it all together. So now I'm going to show you all the different types of lace I made. So that's one with wheels. This is one with a kind of half a rose. This is one that's just plain squares. Again, three types of motifs: rose, shamrock and wheel. This is one with roses. This is one with shamrocks. So I've got the shamrock, the rose and the wheel. So these are the three main motifs for the christening gown. They're all traditional Irish motifs. And for the bottom I made a large piece of lace so that it'll give a frill at the bottom of the dress. This took a long time. It was number 100 thread, and I also had to completely design this motif. And just to show you where things can go wrong, this is a piece I made that I scrapped in the end because it just didn't look right. I couldn't get it to lie flat, and it just didn't fall nicely. It just looked wrong. This was one I tried to follow a pattern from, and it was so complicated. And I realize now maybe if I'd have left this bit open here, it might have been a little bit better. This was all wheels. Well, in any case, I've just got this left, and it's a lot of work that went to waste. So as far as the dress itself, the preparations, I've made the net skirt, which is going to be open at the front because there'll be a motif on the front of the dress which will be visible. And what I did was I made some gathering threads at the top so that I can gather it in slightly, and I outlined it with a dark thread so I could see the edges. The reason why these lines aren't very straight is because that's the way things go with netting. It's extremely difficult to get it to lie flat in netting. I've bought a tambour kit, and I'm hoping to do a little bit of embroidery between the lace on the skirt, and I'll take you along on that journey when the tambour arrives. I'll show you how I'll be using it to embroider on this net. I've also got everything assembled to make the underskirt or petticoat. So I've got I'll be sewing these together. I'm going to do everything by hand. It shouldn't take me too long as it's only for a baby. And it'll be a nice pastime too. It's very relaxing. And this is the back. There's 4 pieces there. One thing I need to do is find some buttons. I want some very, very delicate little buttons. So, and this piece is the skirt. So I'm going to be working on the skirt and the petticoat, and I'm going to be attaching the lace to the net, and things should start coming together now. I'll also be posting videos over the next couple of weeks showing you how to make Bebe lace, how to design it yourself, and how to use it. So I hope you come along on this journey. It's been a very hard time with the lockdown and the COVID situation. I'm just hoping that things will improve for the world and we'll all be able to go back to normal again soon.